What up, everybody? It's Monday night. You know what that means. That's right. 505 interview series. Just making sure everything is up and working as it should be. And we'll get going on with our guest. Okay, we're looking good. We're looking good. I love it. Welcome, everybody. 505 interview series. Big D coming at you from the 505 Summer Lounge, a.k.a. the Hurricane Lounge, at like 80-mile-an-hour winds today. Oof. Rough. But excited for my guest tonight. But before I bring on my guest and introduce, reminder to everybody out there, pinned into the comments and down in the description, got my link tree. It's got links and promo codes to save you coinage with all my advertisers, sponsors, and preferred retail partners. And of course, our guest tonight, his cigars are in one of my preferred retail shops. So you can definitely go try them out and save some coinage on picking those up as well. Yeah, so if you're looking for cigars, I got you covered. If you're looking for accessories, I also got you covered. So make sure you go show my advertisers and sponsors some love because they help continue to keep the program train running. So make sure that you give them all the love that you can. And I appreciate it because they help me out, which in turn helps you all out as well. So tonight, my guest, boutique brand, small brand out of Miami, making big waves out there in the boutique world. He's got a very interesting aspect to how he advertises and promotes his cigars. He's got a fascinating story behind the cigars and the creation of the cigars. So I'm definitely looking forward to talking to him. So without further ado, we'll bring on our guest, Nick Fusco from Mago Cigars. Welcome, sir.
How's it going? Thank you for having me.
Oh, man, I'm glad to get you on, man. Mr. Joe Ash, good to see you, brother. Glad that you are here. So I'll hand it off to you while I get my cigar lit up to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about the brand.
Awesome. Absolutely. Well, I'll join you in lighting up a cigar. I think, are you still smoking what we talked about before?
Yes, I'm smoking the Renegade.
Okay, I'm smoking the same thing, just no tube. Can't smoke the tube. So, my name is Nicholas Fusco, owner of Mago Cigars. According to some sources, I'm the youngest CEO of a cigar company ever. I started this company when I was 22 years old. I am now 25 years old. Our cigars can be found in a little over 30 states, a little over 150 different locations. We've been selling now for a little over a year and a half. And so the growth numbers that we've seen have been very, very positive, and the support that we've seen has been positive as well. And I would love to tell a quick backstory on my cigar brand. If you want me to go ahead and say it now?
Go for it, sir.
All right. So I started this brand in 2021, September of 2021, which was shortly after the unfortunate event that kind of prompted me to start my brand. It was in 2021, there was a building called the Champlain Towers that collapsed here in Miami. And unfortunately, both my grandparents were in the collapse. And after they passed away, I wanted to make something that was meant to be a gift for my mom because it was my mom's parents. And what I did was I made a box of 10 cigars, and I called it a glorified arts and crafts project because that's just what it was. It wasn't perfection at all. You know, it was just something from the heart, like an arts and crafts project, like when kids give to their moms when they're young in school. So that was kind of the start of Mago Cigars without me knowing it was the start. So I gave this gift to my mom, box of 10 cigars with my grandparents' picture on it. And she loved it so much that she told me, you know, you should turn this into a brand to share their story with everyone. And truth be told, you know, my grandparents have a truly amazing story. very unique story. And once my mom said that, I was all in. I was ready to do whatever it took to, get this brand off the ground and share their story with everyone. And so the story goes, and first of all, the reason why I chose cigars was because my grandfather introduced me to cigars when I was 16 years old. My grandfather was Cuban, so he smoked cigars most of his life, and I smoked my very first cigar with him when I was 16. He pulled out a cigar from his drawer in his apartment and gave it to me. We smoked it together, and that was it. My love for cigars began. So that's why I chose cigars, and the reason why I named the company El Mago is because I used the first two letters of my grandparents' names and I combined them to make the word Mago. So M-A is for Maria, my grandmother's name, and G-O is for Gonzalo, my grandfather's name. And now in English, Mago means magician or wizard. And I felt like that name just it sat well with me. Aside from the fact that the MA and the GO matched up, it sat well with me because I felt like my grandparents were full of magic, and they were full of magic because of what they were able to accomplish, what they were able to overcome in life. And just real quick touching on that, their story is it's a long journey that goes through 5 different countries. So Cuba, Czechoslovakia, Canada, Venezuela, and then Miami. So they went through all those countries to get here, and it wasn't like they were moving or vacationing out of leisure. They were kind of I don't want to say like the word running for their lives, but they were essentially escaping really really bad situations economically. Cuba with communism, same thing with Slovakia. Canada, not as much. And then Venezuela was, had a hard decline right as they left. So they were constantly, escaping bad situations and moving to better ones. So that's why I felt like my grandparents were, their story's magical to me. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And then as far as the packaging goes, as far as the reason why you have the tube right there, the whole reason for that tube is simply because my grandfather loved and collected tubes, and he bought the James Hotel in Miami Beach, which is on that tube and on the band of the cigar. It's that hotel in the background, and still to this day, he's got a whole assortment of tubes that he had collected over the years. And if you gave him a cigar without a tube and a cigar with a tube, he was always choosing the one with the tube. So everything, like I said, everything about this brand is dedicated to them, and that's why I started. But I'll let you say a word so I can light up my cigar.
Excellent. I love it. I love the backstory. Our culture and our industry is really based on family and culture from family. So, to the incorporation of this is really a tribute to my grandparents and their journey to come to America. I think that now this just makes the cigars that much better for me. Because I'm one that gets immersed into the stories behind the smoke. Why was this blend created? Why was this name chosen? And when you learn the stories, it enhances, for me, I don't know about people who may be in the chat, but for me, when I hear those stories, it enhances my smoking experience tenfold. Like so I love it, So, it brings in that culture and your history a little bit into me that I get to experience. So that's, I think, one reason why our community is really one of the best.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I obviously I'm on the other side of what you're saying, but when I smoke a cigar in general, I feel the same way as you. And I'm a firm believer that cigar smoking and the culture of cigars is heavily centered around the social aspect of it, the aspect of sharing stories, right? Sharing memories. And that's exactly what I am doing with my grandparents. I'm sharing their story and their memories. And you and me and every other cigar smoker we know that'll sit in the lounge and smoke, they share their stories and their memories as well. And so that's why I feel like pairing my grandparents' journey with cigars was such a perfect marriage and tribute, because cigar smokers are people who truly appreciate stories. They truly appreciate hearing people's experiences in life. So I'm very grateful that I stumbled upon this industry.
It is, and being young as you are on there, uh, any blowback from some of the longtime industry vets over your age and the success that your brand has been having so quickly?
You know, blowback. I wouldn't use that word. I wouldn't say there's been any blowback, but I actually I don't. I'm not going to say any names, but a few of the bigger companies out there, they they kind of like took a back angle to try to find information on my company, like without just like asking me a straight up question. And so like I hear stuff from people that I know that gets back to me, and I even had one of these accounts reach out to me on Instagram. It was an employee of this company that I'm not going to mention, and he was pretending to be the owner and was trying to get some information. So I've had a couple of things like that, but I mean nothing negative that I could say. I actually give a shout out to Eric Espinosa. I spoke to my partner in the factory, Miguel Pinto, who's a close friend of Eric's, and Eric called him up the other day to congratulate him and say, hey, look, your boy. He refers to me as Miguel's boy. He goes, your boy, man. I've seen him everywhere. He's doing great. Brand's growing really well. So I just wanted to congratulate you guys. So that was really cool of him to do.
That's great. Yeah, Eric is such a solid dude. One of my favorite people to talk to out there. I only ask that just because this industry, as great as it is, a lot of personalities and people in the industry are very, very, very petty people. And that was not something that I really experienced in, my time working in the industry. And, but once I got in on the media side, I started, it really was made prevalent to me just by watching and listening and interviews and stuff that's said to me off camera. I'm like, man, this is a petty industry. Yeah, Maddie chiming in there. Yeah, Eric is a realist. Eric is a realist. He's not going to sugarcoat anything for you out there, but he's a genuine man. You can't. That I can say.
I got to say one of the funniest things I've seen on any podcast, like not just a cigar related podcast, but on any podcast, was something that Eric said on, I forget which podcast it was, but back when I was getting started, I was watching like cigar videos, as a cigar enthusiast does, and so he was on this podcast, and the question he was asked, do you think that you are a master blender? Someone asked him something like that, do you think you're a master blender? And he goes, I don't claim to be a master of anything, because if you've mastered something, you can't advance. You can't do anything better. You're already at the top. So he goes, so some people say that they're a master blender. Some people say that they're a master roller, but me, I'm just a masturbator. He said that on the podcast, and I was dying laughing.
That's Eric there. Yeah, you gotta watch yourself in the industry. Not everybody is as they seem. That is true. That is true. Something again, I learned out there the hard way. This stick is phenomenal, man.
Thank you so much.
Look, since for those watching the show, I'm about halfway through that first third, and we're already at drill bucket worthy cigar. So
awesome. I appreciate that. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
It did. So, when I saw as I got introduced to you through Dantley and Black Box Cigar Club, through one of your sticks was featured as one of in the monthly club, and I smoked it. I go, man, this thing is really good, and so I went and bought some more because I enjoyed it, and out there, and
which was the first one you smoked? Do you remember?
Yeah, the first one I smoked was the Miami.
Oh, the Pepe.
Yes.
Nice. That one is extra special to me because I named it Pepe after my grandfather because his name, his real, his first name was Gonzalo, but instead of calling him Grandpa, Papa, whatever, I called him Pepe. That's what I referred to him as. So that's why I named that cigar the Pepe.
It's a very good stick.
Thank you.
On there. So, but I was always curious, and you went in and explained it about the amalgam. I'm like, so is he? My thought behind it was, is he claiming his cigars are magic or magical? The name, and so that was kind of
yes, we are. We're claiming that as well.
You're claiming that as well, okay? Because that's kind of because when I got into this, I was like, okay, El Mago, okay, so magician, so. Is the cigar magic? Is it provide magic? Is it magical flavor? But I'm like, well, there's definitely a magical taste that happens when I smoke the cigar. I have found that smoking your cigar is a mood changer for me. So bad mood, I light up an El Mago, and I'm immediately in a better mindset and a better mood. So maybe there is some magical properties going on with the cigar.
It's in there. It's embedded in there. Bad mood to good mood equals magic.
It's a magic. It is. Yes, it may be a magic stick.
It may be. Madeline's on to something.
Maddie's great. She's a rep and broker out in the Southwest area of the United States. Independent rep and broker.
Oh, cool.
So Maddie's awesome. She's got her own thing going on out there, and she crushes it, and she's also just genuinely an amazing and awesome person.
Nice. Well, thank you for tuning in. Got a question for you. I got a question for you. I know I'm turning the tables on you, but going back to you saying that the industry is a petty industry, broadly speaking, have you ever been involved in the manufacturing side of the industry?
Yes. There was a time when I was working on trying to put something out myself on that. Mm-hmm. And realizing quite quickly that although I have a lot of contacts within the industry that know a lot of people, actually getting your foot in the door was very hard, and when you start talking with these manufacturers and you're looking for something out there that's specific and you go to multiple, they all talk to each other, and then they're very, very petty on why are you dealing with this guy? I can do something better on this one. This guy is a terrible person. He hits his wife.
Yes, that's. I mean, I could tell you've experienced it. That's exactly how it goes. And I consider myself extremely lucky because the very first, pretty much the the third manufacturer I got in contact with, which was the one I ended up going with, so I didn't, I didn't like have to do like a trial and error type of thing. The manufacturer I chose, which was to partner with Miguel Pinto. Um, that's who I'm still with. We're like tied to the hip. He's older than me, but I call him my younger brother because that's how close we are. So I didn't have to go through all these hurdles that a lot of these people go through, but the horror stories that I've heard are brutal. And just like you said, it's hard enough to get your foot in the door, and once you get your foot in the door, they slam it on your foot,
Oh.
and and you get hit upside the head with like just stuff that you almost can't even make up. Like I had a guy the other day tell me that he tried to do some boxes because he wanted like some advice from me, and he wanted to do some boxes with a manufacturer in Nicaragua who did cigars and boxes, and they made him do like a 500 box order minimum and half up front, and then when it was time to ship them out, they told him that they were not allowed to ship out the boxes unless they were full of cigars. So they tried to upsell him, to get him to buy cigars, and I think he ended up just like losing losing half that payment up front. So there's some horror stories out there for sure.
There is, and I thought that there's no difference between the small manufacturers out of Dominican or Nicaragua. They both seem to they don't like the big guys, but a lot of them are contracted by the big guys to help fulfill their orders on it, and they use that to their advantage. That hey, I also roll for such and such. We're a contract. So like okay, so some legitimacy in there, but then you realize that when you're like, okay, well, I'm talking to this other. The first mistake I learned was don't ever say you're talking with another factory because that's what really pushes that boulder down the hill. That I learned. That I learned was you don't do anything. But I figured if I was to do it again, I would go in with a brand that I have a good relationship with because they already have that establishment with either owning their own manufacturing facility or they already have an established facility. So it would I think it would streamline that process a lot faster.
Absolutely, that's true. That's true, and loyalty is another big thing. I feel like that's another thing that needs to be mentioned, and that is, I think it's lacking like in all fields in every aspect of life, but loyalty to just like sticking with what you got, sticking with this, sticking with that, trusting the process, believing in it, that goes a really long way. Now obviously if you're in a situation where it's just like a lose for you and you're getting mistreated, then obviously it makes sense to jump ship. But like going back to your word, petty, a lot of people, the slightest inconveniences make them turn on someone like they just
like that.
Like they just intentionally ran over their dog, something like that. So yeah, it's on that side of the industry, it's interesting, and I've seen both sides. I've seen the negatives and I've seen the positives, and there is a lot of both. But overall, there's a lot of noise, and I try to stay away from the noise as much as possible and just focus on my goal, which is to share my story with as many people as I can. And
that's a smart decision. I think your story behind the brand is fascinating. First off, so that right there will draw people in. But second is the cigars that I have speak for themselves and they stand on their own. Each one is completely different, and I feel that there is a story behind each of these cigars that ties all of them together. So I don't know if there's a chronological order for how they should be smoked or not, but I know that as I continue to dig deeper into your portfolio, I have a good feeling of the order of which the story is being told. So it's a matter of going back and re-smoking them over and over again in different order to figure out that story.
Oh, that's a really cool way to look at it. I haven't heard that one yet. I like that. I like that a lot. And it is true what you're saying. And I honestly, I haven't really thought about it that way myself. But it is true. You know, I started with the Miami Art Deco edition. That was my first blend, and I only had that. I had that one blend, and I, went around Miami. I went around South Florida, just door to door, kind of pitching it, telling the story. Getting placement here and there, and then I came out with two other blends, which is the Triunfante, the Triumphant, the Connecticut, and then the Miami Maduro. And it does give you it gives me like a nice flashback of the trajectory of the company, how it changed and how it progressed. And a great example of that is I don't know if you're familiar with the name, but my sales rep for Florida, Mississippi, and Louisiana, Jeff Groover. That's a good memory for me to think back on when I had the Miami Art Deco edition only. I randomly met him in a cigar shop. He just happened to be there, and he saw my packaging, and he was like, it caught his eye immediately. And he shook my hand. I was like, "Oh, it's nice to meet you." And I said, "Oh, it's nice to meet you as well. I've heard amazing things about you." And I tried to get him on the team, and he said, "Look, it's too early. It's too early. You don't have enough SKUs. I need a bigger portfolio to sell." And probably 8 months later, I had six SKUs, and I got the call from him, and he joined the team. And that was literally the same day that I signed and got ownership in the factory in Nicaragua, in Esteli. So it is cool. It is cool to look back at like all the memories and stuff, and the progression of the company.
I think the cigars catch your eyes off the bat because you have them in tubos. So that right there, automatically, you're like, whoa. Because when you think, most people think of cigars that come in the tubos, fancy cigars, Zeno, Davidoff, big brands out there that utilize tubos, but specifically only for their higher end cigars.
Right.
So you're immediately drawn to it because one, wow, it's a tubo. But secondly, the color schemes on all the purple, that's eye catcher. The neon orange, eye catcher, So they all portray something so that when you're in looking, it's like, oh, wow, what's this? So I think that, it's great. It's great marketing on the cigar. That's why when I said, your unique way of promotion and advertising on the cigar, which is the tubo, because I think that it's underutilized by most brands because one, that's an added cost put in on, and then just putting it in a box. But right. Two, out there, it's an underutilized feature by most brands that have moved away from using them because while they're just, it's like, well, it's not high end, it's not fancy, it's not a 1926 Padron Maduro, so why,
Right. So truth be told, pretty much the only reason I even thought of doing tubes in the first place was simply for the fact that my grandfather always had a cigar in a tube, because that's all I was thinking about when I started the company was my grandparents' memories, right? And so that brought the tube idea to life, and I knew I had to do something nice in a tube, something that if he were here today, he would have been like, oh yeah, this is awesome. And so the reason for the colors now is because of the hotel that he bought in Miami Beach, the James Hotel. And that hotel is actually still in our family today. That hotel is like super colorful. It inspired the colors for Miami Vice, that kind of like teal color and that pinkish color, but it's got more than that. It's got all the bright colors you can imagine on the hotel. And when my grandfather bought it, it was blank. It was like just a white, four white walls pretty much, and he decorated it up to his liking over the years. Every year he built. And what do I mean by built? I mean he would literally have customers that come in and want to stay, and they love the unique look of the lobby, because he has like a bunch of fish and birds hanging inside the lobby that are also very colorful. And so a lot of people that love the hotel brought, knickknacks from their country or from their state or wherever they came from, and asked him if they could hang it on the lobby. And every time he said, of course. So it's got a collection of all these wild colors and designs. And that's how he didn't dress quite like that, but he liked to have a little bit of color in what he would wear. He liked, he didn't want to have like neutral colors. He liked some pop in his style. So that's why I made the tubes that way. And the other reason is, when I was starting off, I spent a lot of time in the humidor, and I'm glad I got to go to my local shop and stand in the humidor and walk around for like 20 minutes without someone thinking that I was stealing, because I knew the owners, thank God. But I would just stand in there for so long, and I'd look around, and I saw a wood humidor, wood shelves, and then I'd see wood boxes of the same color. And in my head I was like, okay, it's wood on wood. There's nothing, or few things that just really pop out when you walk into a humidor. So, I thought in my head my grandfather would love something that really pops. And that just kind of all that came together, and that's how the Miami Art Deco edition was born. And that's how we now have eight lines and 3 more on the way that have every intention of the design, the packaging, and the cigar, being as amazing as my grandparents' story. So that's really how I did it, I guess I would say, how the idea came about.
I've got a question in here from Lou, who wanted to know, how can you do 5 SKUs in 8 months when everybody says it takes 3 years to do one blend?
I did all the blending up front. So I said earlier, it was September of 2021 when the idea popped into my head after my mom gave me the motivation to do it. And it took about, it took close to like a year and a half or so of just background work of creating the blends, creating the designs and everything, and then we launched the company. So I didn't just launch that one blend and then have nothing in the pipeline. I had 5 other blends in the pipeline after I launched the first one. So 5 other blends that I had approved on already, and blended with Miguel and with our master blender in Esteli. So once I had the first one, I was ready to roll and come out with more and more at a quicker pace than I guess what is the usual, the standard. But it takes 3 years to make one blend. I guess it can take 3 years to make one blend if you really just hate everything you try. Technically you could, if you have the tobacco already, at your disposal, and you blend it and you smoke the cigar and you like it, then that's your blend. And that could take much less than 3 years. I think what usually takes 3 years is more of the process of aging the cigar. But I guess if you buy tobacco that's really young, then maybe it would take 3 years if you want to make a blend from that tobacco, because you have to age it and all that. But if you have tobacco that's already aged, it should not take 3 years or anywhere near that
He
long.
followed up on there that's what some of the big brands say on that it's 3 years. That's why they don't come out with stuff or new stuff, or why, in my humble opinion, a lot of them just stuff that doesn't move. They just put a new band on it and recycle it and tell you it's new.
I've heard
I'm
that.
not saying that I may know something. I'm just saying may have heard.
You may have heard it through the grapevine.
May have heard, yes, on that. So you actually got in there and got your hands dirty on the blending process with all of it.
Yeah, that was very important to me, and that was like an imperative. That was something that needed to happen for me. So again, that's why I always say like how thankful I am that I had this connection with Miguel, because he treated this this project, I guess we call it. At the time it was a project. He treated it like it was his own, and he took me under his wing, and we went to Nicaragua several times. He took time off work. He owns 2 cigar lounges here in Miami. He took time off work, took me there, showed me the process, and we started blending. And that was, I couldn't have asked for a better learning experience. I couldn't have asked for a faster learning experience than literally him and I getting on a plane, going there, and me learning firsthand. So it was truly amazing, and it felt extra special that I was able to have a really big role in what blends we came out with.
Well, I think that's I think that's important out there. Is that understanding process really from start to finish there, you having your hands in that whole process. It just kind of, one, you can, specifically what you're looking for, what you want. And then you had that experience behind Miguel and his master blender there to really kind of guide you through the process of what this really entails.
Right. And then, another big thing is understanding what tobacco you have in front of you, what leaf has this kind of note, or what leaf has what purpose in the cigar itself, and what age is like sweet spot, or what can be improved on. And so I learned everything. I'm not gonna say I learned everything from A to Z, because I'm still learning every single day that I'm in this industry, because there's a lot to learn. But I learned so much so quickly, and I think it shows. Not to pat myself on my shoulder, but I think it shows. The level of care that was put into creating these blends. The feedback has been great. Honestly, it's been great, and I think it's not only my grandparents' story, not only the packaging, but the dedication to this brand as well, and to the blend. So couldn't be happier with our start, and I'm really excited for what's to come.
So, what was your kind of welcome to the industry moment where you sat back and you go, I think this is going to work?
That's a good question. Okay, my moment, and it was kind of weird. It felt like it happened in several different instances simultaneously. So at first, when I was out there, going door to door, with no sales reps, nothing, just selling by myself. I was having some success, right, placing product, and a lot of people say that Miami is the hardest cigar market in the U.S. because a lot of the cigar owners are here and have such a big like footprint here and presence. So I went in kind of knowing that, I guess. And so, like I said, I was able to get placement. And then my aha moment that, hey, I think this is working out was when all of a sudden, like I said, it felt simultaneous. All of a sudden, a bunch of different cigar shop owners. Then I happened to come in again. Maybe this was the third, fourth time that I came in, whatever it was. And it felt like all at the same time, they all said to me, "Hey, thank you. Like you've created a great product. This is very easy to sell. I don't have to try very hard to sell this. It sells itself." And when at first, what they told me was, "All right, like I'll help you out. Maybe they wanted to help me out because of my story, or maybe that the packaging was just enough to get them to try it. Whatever it was, they said, I'll help you out. I'll do this favor for you." And then when the tone changed from that to, "Hey, you did a great job. This is really easy to sell. Let me get another order right now." Something like that. Once that happened, which I think I was like not even 4 months into sales when that happened, I kind of realized like, okay, this seems to be working. It seems to be effective,
That's good. I mean, I think, that did you take any time to enjoy that moment on that, or did you just go, I'm on a mission here, I'm on a grind to get this in every shop in the country? I got to keep going.
I definitely continued pushing, kept going, but I do take those moments to enjoy. And I'm a night owl, so a lot of times I'll sit late at night and I'll smoke a cigar and I'll kind of like reflect, because there was a lot happening, at the time of while I was starting the company. Because in addition to starting the company, I was finishing my master's in accounting in college. So there was a lot going on. So I became like more of a night owl than I was before, and then I would take that time in the really early morning to reflect and go over what is happening here, and let it sink in. So I was always very appreciative of everyone who supported me, everyone who gave me a chance. And it all kind of hit pretty quickly. Like, I was, as soon as I started having success in shops, the numbers started just growing really fast, and the accounts that we were in. And then I would just get a ton of emails from people that would find my email on my website, and they would just reach out and say like, how they either knew someone that was connected to the collapse, and they kind of gave me their condolences and tried to just like have a connecting moment with me over the story of my cigars. And so all that was it was overwhelming in a good way. It was really nice, and that really made it easy for me to keep pushing and keep driving and stay extremely motivated. So that all happened just I don't know. It was just great timing, I think, and everything came at me so fast. But it was for the best. It was for the best, honestly.
Good. So now, 3 years into the brand, and really a year and a half into its actual launch, are you where you thought you would be at this point, or are you ahead, or you still not where you think thought you would be?
Well, I didn't have a trajectory map kind of. I didn't have anything drawn. I didn't have any expectations. I just wanted to get the story out. And so I just kind of put my head down, boots on the ground, and was going. But I will say I didn't think the growth as far as how many accounts we're in. I didn't think it would be this rapid. And also another thing that kind of was it was a good learning moment for me. But it's another thing that like I shifted gears very fast early on in the company. And so what happened was um, I had like 12 interviews in the lobby of the hotel that were all televised. And at that time, I I didn't even have boxes made yet. I had cigars and I had my samples of my boxes made, and I launched the cigars on my website, and the like the feedback was great. That's where I started getting emails, and people learned about the brand quickly, because they saw it on the news on TV. And um, then suddenly one day, because I didn't know about online sales, I didn't know how it went, and this was before I was in any accounts, right? Any brick and mortar accounts. I got shut down on my website, right? I got shut down just like from one day to the next, and I was like, so I figured out. I was like, oh, okay. So it's not too friendly to sell online because it's a tobacco product. And then I kind of shifted gears. I knew I was going to be launching, going to brick and mortar, but it was like, again, good timing because brick and mortars don't want you selling online anyway. So I was shut down online, and I shifted all my focus to brick and mortars, and and then that picked up really, really quickly. So a lot of unexpected things happen, and then having Jeff Groover uh, join the team when he did, that was an unexpected call. I always knew he had some level of interest in the company, and we were like, we were friends, but I wasn't expecting that call, and I mean, he's grown our footprint by a lot in a very short amount of time. And then fast forward to, well, really last week, I, I I officially signed on with the Polar Brothers out of Texas, and they actually last week they got their first sale for me. So those pieces being added to the team, I I was not expecting, because I didn't even know about the I didn't even know how crucial and important it was to have sales reps until I was already like a few months into selling. I just didn't know that part of the industry because I was a rookie. So a lot of things just came out of nowhere, came out of the blue, and it worked out for the best. So I could not have possibly mapped out where we, would have been after this amount of time. It's been great, honestly.
Good sales reps are very hard to find, but when you've got good ones that continuously grow and expand the brand presence out there, that are constantly out there hosting events and lounges and shops to keep that interest growing out there, and especially sales reps who have good social media savvy out there, that also have a big following, that you know all of that plays a pivotal role in the continual growth of where you go within the industry out there. So I think you've got some good guys out there that are going to hump their ass for you to get it going, and especially that Texas market. That's the hottest market to be in right now.
Yeah, no, it's a big market for sure, and I look at the Polar Brothers. I look at Jeff as like an extension of my family, because they are, it's truly to me an honor to have other people that I didn't grow up with, I didn't know until recently, to have them telling my story to other people I don't know. It's really a blessing. It's really amazing. So I'm really thankful for those guys, and I'm happy that things went right so that they could believe in me and believe in El Mago Cigars, and be um, optimistic enough about the company to join the team. So, it's I can say that it's really just a huge blessing, and it's very cool. It's very cool to me. Like it's an awesome thought to know that my story is being shared, and it's not just coming from my mouth. It's coming from other people's mouths. And same thing like me being on here with you. You're smoking the cigar. We're sharing we're sharing details on the story. It's awesome. It's awesome. And I see the question here. Anyone sell them online?
Yes.
The answer is yes. Yeah. Neptune sells them online. Smokin' sells them online. Two guys.
Black Box Cigar Club.
Two guys. Black Box Cigar Club sells them online.
You can use that promo code in the link tree there for Black Box and save yourself some coinage on the order. Just saying.
Not a bad idea. Hey,
what's going on, Justin?
So a lot of people think that because I'm younger, that I'm more in tune to the social media game. And it's funny. I'm like an old man, kind of I'm like an old soul, I guess. Some people say that. I don't even have a personal Instagram. I just have my El Mago Cigars Instagram. And in my opinion, which I think is contrary to popular belief, I think that social media in the cigar industry doesn't help as much as people think. What are your thoughts on that?
It helps if you're a woman and you want to get your stuff out there.
But I'm talking about in terms of sales, in terms of
if you hire some pretty girls to stand there and smoke your cigar, yeah, it helps. Me, I can lead the people to water. I can't make them drink. The women can make them drink. I can't do that. I can share your story with everybody. I can get people to go, yeah, I want to try it, but but the moment that you hand your stick to a pretty woman and she fires it up and tells everybody this is good and says everything that I said verbatim, then more people are willing to try it because it's coming from a pretty woman. Pretty women have that social media space in the cigar industry locked down and out there. Where I sit out there, and you go and my analytics on that, where on Instagram, I'm top 2% of the male content creators on Instagram, and there's a ton of people out there, but I also was at a disadvantage because as a man, I started in a hole 6 feet deep. I had to climb out of that hole to get to where I'm at. Women already start on that ground floor and they immediately rise very quickly. Men, we have a harder out there. I want to share your story with people. Hopefully it gets people excited. But for the vast majority of people who will probably eventually, who watch this or who are watching now, they probably won't pull the trigger unless a pretty woman tells them that it's good.
So, okay. So I definitely, it's just a fact that pretty woman smoking a cigar, she'll get more followers, she'll get more views, she'll get more likes, she'll get more comments, all of the above. But you're saying that if a woman is smoking a cigar and promoting it, that the viewers out there, which mostly are men, right? That they're going to take action and go and try to buy
that action. Yeah, they're more inclined to take that action if a woman tells them it's great compared to me telling them it's great. I could say all this stuff about your brand, and they're like, "All right, yeah, it's good." Pretty one, you have a pretty woman say the same thing that I just said, and most of these men are going to go, all right, yeah, I'm sold. Because why? Men are stupid. But that's beside the point. All right? Sex sells. And that's plain and simple. When you got a big dog, when you got that big ugly dog face only a mother could love, and my mom don't even like mine, it don't help. All right? I can take all these people, and all these people will follow me to the river, and I go, drink up, fellas. I know you're thirsty. No, no, no. Pretty woman goes, drink up, fellas, and they're on all fours lapping that water up like dogs.
I see your point totally, but I'm still a skeptic. I'm still a skeptic because I've seen a lot of these. We can call them cigar influencers, the women who are cigar influencers. I've seen them post, and I think that definitely works in a like live, real, in lounge, in bar, in cigar shop setting, where it's the same way as a bar that sells liquor. You're more inclined to want to spend if a pretty woman comes up to you and says, "Okay, what are you drinking?" Than if a guy does. You don't have a problem telling the guy to, hey, hold on, get out of here. I'm not ready. But I don't know. For some reason, the online, the video smoking. I don't know.
There are certain women out there that they drive away. So there's a website that some of the shops use to track analytics, how people are coming using the promo code. I log in on there, and I'm number 4 of the top 10 on there. I'm the only man in that top 10. It's all women. Some of the 3 that are above me have way higher social media presence than I do. They have a ton, but the 6 behind me, they have less followers and less of an influence than I have out there. But they're pretty women, and so men are going over there and using that promo code. So I can track, I can see all that, and I can see those analytics, how many people are going. When I see that the top 3 have, coming from their click the link in my bio will take you over there. When I see that they all have 10, 20, 30,000 clicks a piece on that, and here I am sitting at 4 with just under 1,000.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Point taken. You proved your point.
I'm just saying. I see
real.
those analytics, and I'm looking at that, and I'm just like, dang, and then you look at the commission kickback that they get, because it's all that's posted on there, and you see the number one for 2023, the number one up there pulled in $18,000 in commissions just when people clicking the link and going and using the promo code and buying cigars.
Wow. Well, did you think of the alternative for you?
Well, as Johnny put it, transition. Yeah, I said.
not too late to transition.
Yeah, thank you, Johnny. I appreciate that out there. Yeah. So I think
Justin firing some shots at you.
Yeah, that's what Johnny does. You know what? But I love Johnny. He's my bro. All right, I love him. I think. Yeah, poor social media presence. Yeah, that's another. But for the, I'm also fully aware that on Instagram, I'm shadow banned. So unless you're actively seeking me out, you're not going to see. You're really not seeing what I'm putting out there, what I'm posting. Here maybe once or twice a month, up something I load up, get some traction. That's it. But other than that, unless some of those pretty women, if I'm tagged in something they're doing, that's the only way. That's the only time anything I post ever gains any traction is when it's attached to them, because for some reason they're not shadow banned out there. I am, but you've got to actively search me out, because apparently I hit that point of, okay, we're going to make people actually look for you if they want to see what you're putting out there.
Oh, okay. Do you see that it affects like your story views when you post a story?
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why I started posting. I started posting on Facebook, and I started posting on LinkedIn, and I started posting on the YouTube community feature, and get that out there. It adds more because I'm seeing now more and more people in more and more interactions on Facebook than I am on Instagram. So, I'm not shadow banned on Facebook.
Yeah,
I've left my profile
Facebook.
open. So you don't have to be my friend on Facebook to see what I post. Everything I post is open for everybody to see. You don't have to be my friend to watch on Facebook. Watch our interview today. You could just go over to my Facebook page and you can watch it.
Oh, why are you?
I've left everything open for everybody to see. So
you're
that
private. You're private on Instagram.
It's not private on Instagram, but unless you search me out, you don't see my stuff.
Got it. Okay, got it.
If I go live on Instagram, you'll see that I'm live, but that's it. And usually I see a bunch of people. Every couple weeks I see people will like 50 photos of mine because I'm now off their analytics chart. They had to search me out, find me. So now it puts me back in there, but then I'll slowly fall back off again. So every month or 2 months, they got to go back, find me, and then it puts me back on their feed up towards the top.
Gotcha.
Boy, I'm getting trashed in the chat today from Lou and Johnny.
they're coming at you.
They're coming after me, man.
I have a potential solution. You might not like this idea, but it might be a solution. There's no restrictions or shadow banning on OnlyFans. Maybe you can.
Okay. So I got a story about that.
Okay.
Kevin Shahan, who's Cigar Prop, I think almost everybody should know him. He has an OnlyFans page. Now, it's all the same pictures he posts on all social media. There's no difference. Only difference is he actually has people who pay him $5 to look at a picture he posted for free on Instagram or Facebook.
Interesting. So it's it's almost like the subscribe feature on Instagram, just like there's no shadow banning. There's no restrictions.
See, Lou, my son had 12,000 views a few days ago on a gardening video he did on his page. Yeah.
Hey.
But pay this keep me off.
It's not bad.
I won't go. You won't see I have an OnlyFans page, and I think most of us know the guy who DMs everybody and says he'll pay you to send him photos of you with your shoes off, blowing smoke onto your toes.
True story. This is a true story. Someone like that had a foot fetish. I don't know how. I don't know why. I don't know the backstory, but sent a DM to one of my best friends, one of my childhood best friend. This was when he was with his ex-girlfriend. Sent this girl a DM saying, "I will Venmo you $20 right now if you send me a picture of your feet." And she showed my friend, and he goes, let's see if he'll send the money. Send a picture of my feet. And he sent this guy a picture of his feet, and the guy Venmoed them $20. Hey, there's some interesting people out there.
Well, $20 is $20. I mean,
$20 is $20.
I mean, that buy me lunch for the day. So
yeah, was it worth a picture of feet? Probably.
Probably. I mean,
probably. Yeah.
I mean, as a recognized member of the media, I can't allow myself to whore myself out like that. Now, if one of my advertisers or sponsors ask me to do such, okay.
Well, hey, if you need help starting an OnlyFans, Kevin's your guy. He's already got one. He knows the ropes.
Kevin is such a good dude. And when I went through my YouTube suspension, he took the time to call me on the phone and walk me through setting up my Rumble page and getting my content moved over there before YouTube wiped it all out.
Oh, wow. Damn,
Yeah.
I've heard of YouTube doing things like that, just like shutting people down without notice.
So I got, Kevin and Cigar Obsession and a few others got hit for their cigar. I didn't get hit for the cigar content. I got hit for being a non-monetized channel, monetizing off of non-Google approved advertisers. They made up a rule because when I asked to see where that rule was, because they quoted like paragraph 3 subsection B of pay on that, none of that was there. I went to look and read it, wasn't there. They sent it to me, and it was something that was passed. Like, it was something that was passed a few months earlier that they retroactive to like the beginning of the year, so they could go after me from the first year, and it gave them permission to do it before it took effect. On the date, it said those who are guilty of gross negligence of this the rule can be put into effect early. And I was one of those people that they went after, which for a lot of people, it was shocking for a lot of people because I'm not huge. I have a presence, but I'm not huge. So they picked me on all that. Then, for instance, the lives, they leave the lives alone. They don't touch the lives. Occasionally, they may age restrict a live video. And I'm like, okay, so what? It's already age restricted.
Right. Right.
So they may hit an age restriction on a live. But other than that, they don't, lives and shorts, YouTube doesn't touch. They don't care. They only care about the pre-recorded content, which is why all pre-recorded content I do is on Rumble.
Oh,
And
okay.
I can monetize on Rumble. I can't monetize on YouTube. I can't monetize on Facebook. I can't monetize on Instagram.
Jeez, it's a maze. It's a maze you have to go through to work your way through. The social media gauntlet. It's really crazy,
Wow.
and it's pretty. I've seen you. You're kind of What's the comments are on fire today? They're really coming at you.
Like, usually they're picking on somebody in the chat. Today, tonight they're directing all this energy towards me.
And all you're doing is venting. You're venting, and you're getting roasted. You're getting roasted for venting. It's not right.
But like I said, I started in a 6-foot hole. I had to climb out of that, and it's, really the channel started in 2019, and it wasn't until about last year that I actually I was actually on the ground floor.
2019. So, wow.
4 years.
Wow.
4 years it took for me to kind of really get out of that hole. Prior to that, when I would go to trade shows or I'd go to events, small brands all knew about me because my channel has always been about promoting boutique brands and small brands.
Right.
They knew about me. It wasn't until last year that the big brands started knowing about me. So,
Yeah, it takes a while to grow when you start from 6 feet under, just like you said.
It took 4 years, and I get asked by people every day. People DM me going, "How do I get started? What do I do?" And I'm like, first off, you've got to accept the fact that you're going to start in a hole, and it may take you a long time to get out of that hole. And for a lot of people, they end up deeper in that hole. It doesn't. They're not able to climb out of it. And you got to accept that. And if you can accept that, all right, the next is, what are you going to do that's different from everybody else? Because nobody wants to look at the same stuff all the time. What's your content?
I have a good example for you of like how complicated the social media game is. So another one of my good friends, he has a podcast called Beyond the Wealth. And he interviews a lot of people who have like successful. It's more tech driven. They're not selling anything in the tech world, but it's like social media driven businesses. And one example was, if I'm not mistaken, it was a kid who started a brand that was he basically figured out a way to put honey in like one of those like ketchup type of packets, the plastic ketchup packets that you rip open and squeeze out. So he put this honey infused with like Cialis or Viagra in it, and the way he like blew up his social media was he just marketed it really aggressively, and he had a Discord chat where he paid his members like 500 a month to post 50 videos a month of the product, tagging him. So he had like 50 people posting 50 videos a month of just his product, and every video that ended up going viral and had the best success, he would repost it on his official page. And the algorithm just favored him so heavily because of that, because it looks like real engagement from other people, and his social media just blew up and his sales went through the roof, and that's how he got his business off the ground to work. And you know, it costs him a lot in marketing. You know, it's a huge expense, but if you get it right, it works. You know?
Yeah. You know, if I had the money to do one of those algorithm busting posts out there like that with a bunch of people, oh, I would totally do it.
Yeah. No, I can't blame you. I can't blame you. It's like a hack in the system. You know, it's a hack in the game.
Are you gonna work your way to any of the trade shows like PCA next month, or any of the boutique trade show in Tampa, or any of those? You gonna work your way to any of those here?
Yeah. I'll be at PCA next month. I got a booth.
Now I can't wait to come see you.
Oh, you're gonna be there?
Yes, I also work for a brand, so I'll be there working the booth for one of the brands that I represent. So I'll be there. I'm not doing any media stuff. You know, I like TPE is kind of the big media event that I do for the year, and then PCA I work the booth.
Awesome. Well, my booth it's 12087, I believe, is my booth number, and I'm like on the right side. I'm right across from Central Hall, in that, you know, the big hallway. So come by. We'll smoke a cigar together. We'll talk.
Yes.
If you have time. I'm sure you'll be busy working, but if you have a little bit of time.
You know, the last couple of years, you know, go take a 15-20 minute break, and I go walk the venue, and you know, and I for nothing more than to kind of for the media side of stuff, you know, talk to brand owners, get some samples, book for either for this show or the Tuesday night show, get stuff booked up and all that. So that, you know, so that's kind of how I run it. You know, every few hours I go take a 15-minute break, go make some rounds, go talk to owners, get samples, go book, you know, set up booking for shows and stuff. So yeah, you know, I kind of, you know, I'm there working on official capacity, but then I'm also kind of doing my thing on the side when I get a break.
Nice. Well, this is going to be my very first time going to PCA. I take it you've been several times before.
Yes, it's you know, the first couple days are crazy, just because all the retailers do all their basically all their business the first 2 days. The last 2 days it tends to be dead, and who's out there is you know, really looking for either small stuff for shelf filler or accessories out there. Mm-hmm. Very few are actual shops. But last year I noticed that there were some of the smaller shops showed up on the last 2 days, so they wouldn't have to deal with all of the mess of everybody.
the
the first
frenzy
few
for the
days.
first 2 days.
Yeah, and last year was kind of one of those years where high anticipation from a lot of the small and boutique brands out there, and then right before the show opened, Padron sent an email out to 900 retailers who've been waiting upwards of 7 years to be Padron shops that they're now approved to be a Padron shop. So most of those retail shops came in, spent their wad over at Padron, and so they had no money left to bring in anybody else, because it's like I've been waiting. The few I talked to retail shops that I know, was like I've been waiting 7 years to get them in. I couldn't say no. I couldn't say no to it.
Right.
I now have the opportunity, and I don't blame them for doing it.
Yeah. No, it's a competitive landscape out there. It's very, very competitive, and that was a clever move there by Padron, I would say.
Oh yeah, Joe. Well, Joe, that's because Alan understands who I am as a media personality, and my success reflects well on him for hiring me. So that's the story I'm going with on. Plus, Alan sent me out on the floor with samples to go try and drum up business to come back to that dungeon where for everybody who did the BCA booths, that was a total bust.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I saw the BCA. I don't know much about the BCA booth, but I saw it, and I was like, okay, that's an interesting concept, but you describe it as a dungeon?
Well, where it was last year. So when this was originally announced, the partnership between the BCA and the BCA setup was supposed to be right up front, right when you walk through the door. You'd see it. So immediately, everybody sees you. Well, between the time that announcement came to the time the show came, it was all the way in the very back by the very back food court that nobody goes to.
That's tough. That's
and
a tough
so,
break.
Plus
so everyone was already paid up and was promised this location, and then they just switched it at the last minute.
It got pushed back to the back. Yeah, and Joe, like Joe just said, the BCA is still in the back. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna have a bigger selection out there, and or a bigger section." I'm like, "You're still in the back, though, man. That's the problem." And if you've noticed, one of my biggest issues that I brought up, because I got asked this question on an interview, I said, as a representative for a brand, I had a great time. It was a learning experience. I enjoyed it. Now, as a member of the media, I have issues with a lot of things that I saw there that I don't think benefited the brands at all. One, you guys didn't know marketing on this was even being here, because retail shops I talked to on the floor had no clue this was going on. So you go through their social media pages, they didn't promote it at all. BCA affiliated shops had no clue, so they didn't even tell BCA affiliated shops that this was going down. So they did no marketing. They put no signage in the ceiling that said, "Hey, this is the Boutique Cigar Association BCA member pavilion." Didn't put anything out there on that. And you paid you paid $10,000 for a booth, which was far more than if you would have just paid the $4,500 for a booth, and you probably would have had a better setup and better location somewhere else on the floor.
Right.
But you paid this money. What did you get out of this? Because I don't think you did, because I didn't see a whole lot of foot traffic back there. I didn't see a whole lot of brands busy and constantly talking. Then really the only people who went back there were people who carried those brands already. And a lot of them just wanted to do reorders and take advantage of PCA pricing.
Got it.
So they made their way back there. Other than that, most people didn't. Some people were like, "Oh, we're in the back at the B." Like, really? I didn't even know that was there. So they did a terrible job on this whole advertising and marketing of this. And they still have, because their official pages still have done no marketing or advertising on this, and we're a month out.
Oh, man.
So
Yeah,
again, you expect people to hike it all the way to the back of the convention center, and for what?
right.
For what?
Most,
If they don't know
most
it's there.
right. In your experience, do you see that most people kind of they just go to the front, maybe the first third or the first half or whatever it may be, and they kind of just stop there? Or
I think that because there's so much going on and it can be extremely overwhelming, I think most shops, because they don't carry small brands or a lot of small brands out there, they are big brand focused and centric. They're only going to stick to this area because that's most of what they carry. I think some of the mid-sized shops that kind of carry a good mixture of both probably got lost and overwhelmed because the setup was not done right, and the advertising and marketing wasn't there on the BCA's part, because it's not the PCA's job to market and promote it. Essentially, if you were a part of that BCA pavilion, looks like we lost Nick. We'll get him back here in a second. The liquor booths are in the back. So yeah, and this year it's at the convention center, the Las Vegas Convention Center, not the Sands Convention Center. Completely different layout and setup. Question is it going to be? Are they going to utilize both floors? Are you going to have big brands on the bottom floor and the smaller brands up on the top floor? Those are the two things that I think. I'd be curious to know. Are they going to utilize both levels? And if you're tuning in here to see Nick, it looks like he had some internet issues and he got kicked off. So we'll hang out for just a little bit longer to see if he gets his internet connection back before we call the show. I looked at the map too, Joe, and I can't tell. So Lou, I think you're absolutely correct on that. Saving 90%, they won't waste their time going to little guys. I get that, and most of it is they get such good discounts and kickbacks from those big brands out there that why wouldn't they? They're definitely going to go to the brand, the brands that everybody knows that they like, or that they get lots of kickbacks from. So I think that it's I just think the whole setup last year was done trash. It was just done trash. And I don't think that the BCA did any favors to any of the brands that were there, other than those brands that were cushy with Caffey. I think they seem to do pretty well. But if you weren't part of that clique, I don't think that it made a lick of difference out there. Welcome back.
Not sure what happened there. Okay. So you're talking BCA. BCA you were talking about.
Oh, yeah. So the BCA, yeah, I don't think that they did any favors to any of the brands that bought in to be part of that pavilion out there last year.
Also, I think it's a tough sell. What's going on, Arturo? I think it's a tough sell to promise boutique brands that they will be in the forefront of PCA when some of the bigger brands are spending alone on the floor over $100,000.
Oh,
just on the space, So.
And I said I'd be interested to see how they do the setup, because it's not at the Sands Convention Center this year. It's at the Las Vegas Convention Center. That area has 2 floors. Now, are they going to segregate small and medium brands upstairs or downstairs, and the big brands upstairs or downstairs. You know, or is it all going to
there's
be
2
all one
floors
floor?
this year?
I don't know. I haven't. I've looked at the map layout. It looks like one floor, but when for
looks like
TPE,
one.
for the TPE, the map layout only showed one floor layout, but it was two. They utilized both floors for TPE, but all the cigar stuff was down on the bottom floor. All the marijuana stuff was on the bottom floor, but in the back, and then all the vape stuff was upstairs.
Oh, okay. Okay. I feel like it would make sense to keep everything on one floor for a PCA. Right?
But
Don't you
at
think
least
that'd be
there would
the
give people options of knowing that they have multiple floors
right?
out there. Arturo wants you to come back to Esteli.
Let's see. When am I going back? I may be going back right before PCA. I may be going back. Got to check on the factory.
I'm waiting on my passport to come back after me forgetting to renew it, and it expired, and I had to go through the whole process all over again.
Oh man, that's tough. So you're in no out of the country travel mode.
Yeah, until I get that I cannot. But I want to definitely I definitely want to go back to Esteli. Last time I was there was 2008, so 2007 was the last time I was there. So,
oh wow, a lot has happened since then in Esteli.
I've seen photos of the growth of it and everything, and I definitely love to go back. Stayed in this nice place, this nice house, that was just kind of perfectly located to walk everywhere out there, and it was like $3 a day to stay there.
Yeah, no, it's not that cheap, but it's less expensive. And yes, Juan,
Johnny.
yes, we'll be at PCA this year, booth 12087 Central Hall.
We can stay at Art's house.
I appreciate that. Thank you. No, not $3 a day any longer. No, it's not.
It's not $3 a day anymore. I'm sure it's not out there.
No.
Yeah, man. And Art, since I see you're in the chat, I gotta message you and work out logistics for the winner of the charity giveaway from last week. So, I'll hit you up tomorrow and send you a message.
You guys, how many giveaways do you run? Generally speaking, like in a year or something.
I do quite a bit, just because my advertisers and sponsors send me a lot of stuff, and I accumulate a lot of stuff. So I do a lot of giveaways just to try and get rid of a lot of that.
Right.
I do quite a bit. When I do stuff with brands, I usually tell them, hey, I only need 3 or 4 sticks. And then they'll send me a box, and I keep the 3 or 4, and I'll give the rest of the box away to somebody.
Gotcha. Nice. What do you think is, in your personal opinion, what do you think is the best cigar accessory to give as a gift?
A combo lighter, combo cutter / lighter. I think is the best, because it doesn't matter what kind of cut it is, V, straight, whatever. I just think it's an all-in-one. It's really an all-in-one accessory that you can use to, all right, cool. I got my cutter. Boom. I got my cutter built in. I don't have to carry an extra cutter, and I got my lighter, so I'm good. So if I'm at a lounge, I don't have to use a community cutter, because who knows who's been putting their mouth all over that before they cut their cigars.
Right.
On that. So I got that. I think it's the perfect gift, for personally, if I to give away. They make all sorts of other stuff too. A carry case is nice too. A nice leather travel case is nice too. Leather travel case, and put a combo cutter lighter in the travel case and the pouch. That way they're all set. I think those are very nice gifts to give to somebody.
You get a lot of utility out of that. I got that. What you just described, my buddy from Italy, he got me that for Christmas. Cigar pouch with the utility lighter in it.
Yeah, I think they're really nice gifts, and they're gifts that you can give to an experienced smoker or to somebody who's new or coming up in smoking.
Right.
It's good for. It doesn't matter what level you're at as a smoker. Those are great gifts. My table here, I've got 15 lighters and 20 cutters sitting on it and everything. But this is like the only one I ever use. So
yeah, it's funny. All you need is one, and yet we like to collect a bunch of different cutters, a bunch of different lighters. I have a whole box of lighters at my house. I love to collect them.
And then you have you get more fancy with some of the lighters where it has a built-in stand in it, and not only does it have a built-in stand on it, it also comes with a nubber.
A nubber, yep.
That's also built in on it, it's a torch lighter, so you can get as fancy as you want with all that stuff, out there. And having like Zyphy as a accessory sponsor, my house is just full of lighters and cutters, and so I just kind of as they start piling up, and then I'll go on Instagram and give a bunch of it. I'll just go on Instagram and give a bunch of it away, or I'll have in October I'll do my birthday show. And I'll just give away the farm on I'll just bring everything out that I've accumulated, over like 3 or 4 month period. And I'll just be like, all right, I've got an unopened box of such and such cigars. All right, I'm going to give this away.
When in October is your birthday?
The 28th.
Nice. All right. I'm October 11. We're October brothers.
Yes, we are. So, yeah, I give a lot of stuff away, and I do tend to give a lot more cigar stuff away more frequently, just because I didn't ask for a box, but you as a brand were kind enough to send me a box. I appreciate it, but I don't need a whole box. I'm going to take what I need to do whatever work it is that I'm going to do, whether it be for an interview, whether it be for the review show or whatever. And then I'm going to give most of them away to other people so that they have the ability to now enjoy the cigar, and hopefully it turns them on to you.
Right.
And I make that clear too. It's like, if you send me a box, just know I'm probably going to give most of the box away to people, just so you're aware. I'm not going to keep them for me.
It's a good strategy. And I learned that quickly too. Similar but different scenario, that it's very important to get your cigar into someone's hands, because how else are they going to, maybe they like your story, maybe they like your packaging, but how are you going to get them to believe and trust that your product is good?
Yeah.
You got to get it in their hands. You got to get people smoking your cigars. That's how it goes. You gotta, like you said, lead them to water, and hopefully they drink.
Hopefully they drink. That's it. And like if hopefully what I'm giving away to somebody is somebody who's on the fence, who may want to buy it, or maybe it's at a price point that's a little bit higher than they're comfortable in spending. Okay, well, here's your opportunity now to enjoy it. Hopefully they smoke it, they enjoy it, and go, you know what, I think that's something that I'm willing to make that investment in, even though my budget level on it per stick is at this, and it's just a little bit higher than that. I don't mind spending that extra money for that because I really enjoyed it. So that's ultimately my goal, is to spread the brand awareness out there, that if that, hey, I know that you may want to smoke it. Well, here's your chance to smoke it. I'll keep some. I'll put some. I'll do giveaways. I'll create sampler packs for people. So I'm like, here's a sampler pack of here's a six cigar sampler pack of 6 brands who I've had on the show recently. So there you go. And so I'll have all 6 of those brands in it. So I try and think of different and unique ways of putting together giveaways for people on there. When I go on Instagram, I have fun. I give stuff away, and I just go, all right, I'll write a number down. I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 100. Whoever's the closest without going over that number, will win this. And all right, number I wrote was 62. We have somebody who wrote 60 in there. You're the winner of this.
Nice.
I try.
That's a good way to do it. Yeah.
That way it's kind of fair.
Giveaways are fun. It's exciting because it's like the same allure that like gambling brings to some people. It's like, am I gonna win? Is it gonna be me? Like when they do the wheel, the giveaway wheel where it has everyone's name on it.
I used to do that. That's how I used to run my giveaways. I would put everybody's name into a wheel. So sometimes that wheel, you couldn't even see the pie. Everything was so small because there was like 600 names on it. And so it was just so small. We go around, all right, who's going to win? And then I kind of came to this, just guess a number that's close to it, and whoever's the closest wins. I think that works. It works better, And some I just do impromptu. I'll just go live and impromptu give something away. And sometimes I'll promote it as like, I'm going to do a giveaway, and I'm going to go live at this time. If you want a chance to win, show up.
Fair enough. It's good. It's a good way to do it.
Nick, I appreciate you hanging out with me tonight. I had a great time. Love your story. I love your cigars. And I'm going to now make it my goal to try and put the cigars together in chronological order of how the story is talking to me.
You got to give me your feedback on what order you end up coming up with. I told you a little background of the order in which I released the cigars, but I don't think I gave you everything. So
no, you didn't give me everything on it, and that's all right because I think every cigar is unique and has its own story. And even though your latest release may not be where it sits in that chain of the story, that may be up towards the front, or it may be towards the end for stuff that still hasn't been released yet.
You're gonna have to give me feedback on it, and I'm saying I'm happy I didn't give you the background on the exact order of every release because I'd rather that not be in your head. I want you to do it with your feel, and then we'll see because I find your take on that very interesting. So I'll be looking forward to your feedback on that.
Yes. I'm super excited to I like the challenge. It'll be something fun for me to figure out and smoke and hear what the cigar tells me as I'm smoking it. Because I feel a connection to the brand, so I kind of feel like I can work the story out of the blend as I'm going down. So
awesome. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Anything you'd like to promote?
We have a PCA exclusive blend coming out, so you'll be able to see it. You'll be there. But for anyone going to PCA, stop by. There's the drool bucket.
It's one of the highest honors you can receive from me.
Oh, thank you. Seriously, I'm glad you enjoyed the Renegade, and I hope you enjoyed it was the Lotus that you haven't smoked, right? You haven't smoked the Lotus?
I have not. Yes, I've not. The Lotus is now the only other one I've smoked. I've smoked
The
the
Lotus.
Miami Art Deco, the Pepe, and the Renegade and the Cubano. I have not smoked the Lotus yet.
Okay. The Lotus is the only Lancero out right now in an aluminum tube. The only one. There you go. Yep. But yeah, we'll have the PCA exclusive release, and we'll have a few more blends coming out shortly after that. Maybe another one coming out after that in 2024, and then yeah. And if anyone who's tuning in, would like to see us in your area, if we're not already in your area, feel free to give us a follow at El Mago Cigars on Instagram and Facebook, and shoot us a DM. Shoot us a DM, and we'll make it happen.
And in the description on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, I got links to everything El Mago, so you can direct link yourself over to all the everything, their website and their social media pages.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, everybody. Tomorrow night, Raw Cigar Reviews returns. The beautiful Brandy will be back joining me as my co-host. We got Josh from Luciano Cigars coming on, and they've got a line extension to the Lucia Maria. So we will be talking with Josh about that, and smoking and interviewing. So that'll be a fun time over on my IG Live, 7 p.m. Mountain, 9 p.m. Eastern. And next Monday night, on the 4th, I know, first Monday of the month show in a long time, got Orlando from So Divine Leaf coming on, so that should be fun. We'll see which dusty-ass, torn-up hoodie he's wearing. So it should be a good time. If you enjoyed the roasting of me today, just tune in to watch everybody roast Orlando next Monday night. That'll be a hooting and hollering time out there. That's it, guys. And of course, if you're going to be out PCA next month, I'll be out there again with Alan and Family by Loyalty. So swing by our booth and come see us. Make sure you go see Nick over at the El Mago booth as well. So till next week, guys, thank you so much. Take care. Be safe out there. Don't do anything Nick and I want to do, because we're both sweet and innocent boys. And have a great